Before we start today's video, I want to thank everyone for the kind words on the last update video. I know it definitely bummed me out that you guys didn't get to see the video that I'd planned last week, but don't worry, it's still coming after some major adjustments. I haven't given up, even though Turner Broadcasting seems to have it out for me right now, but regardless, I'll be working to re-edit the episode in question and be releasing it as soon as I possibly can. That being said, let's begin. The internet has no shortage of disturbing or eerie things that you can come across scrolling through various websites. From creepy videos to disturbing real-life cases, you can find it readily available in the palm of your hand if you know exactly where to look. Welcome back to On the Web, where today I bring you 4 offerings of ominous and terrifying stories/cases that you can find online. And a warning, things will begin to get a little rough towards the end of this video, so viewer discretion is advised. Let's start with something simple and eerie. After all, nothing says horror like a good spooky video. On January 15th, 2013, an account by the name of Rogyan Ergna, or Angry Neighbor in reverse, surfaced on YouTube. Strangely, this account isn't about the videos it contains, but rather the audio in these videos. In each one of these videos, this user records any sound that they may be hearing coming from their neighbor's property, whether or not it's actually from their neighbors. The strange part is that the video catalog ranges from 30-second video clips to over 6 hours for single videos. All in all, there are over 7,000 videos uploaded to this channel, sometimes with multiple uploads a day. Very few times does the formula for this channel change. It's mostly a blackened screen and audio. But there are rare occasions that definitely make you take a second glance. In one of the videos, what appears to be a medicine bottle appears, although it's hardly able to be deciphered thanks to poor video quality. There's also one notable example that could potentially suggest something more sinister. In one video, the user appears to have captured footsteps that many believe to be the user's, almost as if to get the footage, they needed to be close to the neighbor's house. Believe it or not, this actually brought me down into a rabbit hole of a type of content that I actually never knew about. Going by the name of gang stalking, it's a phenomena where a person is paranoid about a certain individual or group of people targeting them for certain reasons only pertaining to something involving them. For example, an ex-partner could theoretically be taking something you may have misplaced because of a breakup in the eyes of the people afflicted with this thought process. These are many of the types of videos that people who are mentally ill seem to create, and there's many channels dedicated to these exact type of scenarios. Looking at the format of this channel, its titles, and some images that are actually on the videos, I think it's a safe assumption that this would be kind of a series of documentation for somebody with a mental illness. They may even suffer from a condition known as misphonia, an overly emotional reaction to certain sounds, including aggression or displeasure. Or they might just be suffering from sound sensitivity due to hyperacusis, which actually causes you physical pain when you hear very loud noises. The channel has been dormant since July 19th of 2017, where it sits as kind of a creepy archive to someone's potential madness. Definitely not something you want to think about when you're at your next family gathering. This one seems to be pretty well known, but until I talk about it, I know it'll keep coming back up into my mind. Judith Barsi was born on June 6, 1978 to immigrants Joseph Barsi and Maria Vivovax. Immediately at the age of 3, she was thrust into the spotlight of Hollywood by her mother and even landed some notable roles. You may recognize her as the voice of Ducky from The Land Before Time, or even as Anne-Marie from All Dogs Go to Heaven. Unfortunately, she would never see the success that these films would have brought her. Judith's father, Joseph, was an abusive parent, to say the least. He would regularly throw things at his wife and daughter, drink heavily, and threaten to harm them regularly as well. It got so bad that Judith actually developed trichotillomania, which saw her pulling out her eyelashes and her cat's whiskers due to her anxiety. Her mother Maria would be very wishy-washy about a divorce, scared that they might lose everything if she went through with it. Her fears were far greater than she could have actually imagined. On July 28, 1988, police received a call to the Barsi household and found a gruesome discovery. They found the bodies of Judith and Maria covered in a flammable liquid after they had been shot. In the garage, they found the body of Joseph, who had ended his life with a self-inflicted gunshot wound. Many believe that the reason that Joseph had committed the heinous acts was because he was jealous of his daughter's success. Ongoers actually criticized the police for not taking any of Maria's many reports about her husband seriously. And because they didn't, Judith and Maria lost their lives. Judith was buried next to her mother in Hollywood with her gravestone reading, "Our Concrete Angel," followed by her character Ducky's catchphrase,
"Yep, yep, yep."
I have a soft spot in my heart for music that actually comes from Mexico. Some of the most interesting pieces of art can come from other countries, even if it's not fully understandable for some Americans. Celino Sanchez was a singer I had never particularly had heard of before, but upon seeing his name pop up on YouTube's wonderful recommendation algorithm, I decided to look into him. What I found was an extremely curious case, one which even has an infamous video tied to it. Celino Sanchez was born into poverty in 1960 in the state of Sinaloa, Mexico. Sinaloa now has become known as the hub for criminal organizations such as the cartel, but even then, it was a known fact that criminals frequented the towns within the state's lines. At the age of 15, Celino's sister had been raped by a man who was a local mafioso. 2 years later, Celino would see him at a party and would wind up shooting him to death. On the run with only his gun, he became a coyote, someone who helps people get into the US illegally, before crossing over himself and going to Inglewood, California. He got married and had 2 children with his wife Maricela in 1984 before hearing about his brother's untimely death. This motivated him to create his first corrido, a ballad usually involving the subjects of oppression, hardship, and criminal activity. Through sheer determination and connections, he saw success and began to tour the state thanks to his Latin American listeners. After surviving an attempt on his life in January of 1992, he continued to perform until his final performance in Culasan. This is a city known for its high crime rate due to the Sinaloa cartel. While on stage singing Alma Enamorada, he was handed a note by someone in the crowd, threatening to kill him if he continued his performance. An obviously nervous but determined Celino continued to sing. After the concert, he and a few others were stopped by a circle of black SUVs with men holding police ID badges. He was taken willingly, but wouldn't be seen again until the next morning. At around 6 a.m., his body was found by 2 hikers with 2 bullet wounds in the back of his head. His wrists also had rope marks on them, as if he was bound when executed. No one is certain as to who actually did it, but I think it's safe to say it's pretty easy to figure out who might have done it. Every time I watch this video, though, it appears so strange to me that there's footage of him receiving his final death threat. Absolutely creepy, to say the least.
Watch the moon. The moon will change colors. And that's when your mom will come get you.
On August 10th of 1990, a hot summer's night in Dickinson, Texas went horribly wrong for 8-year-old Jennifer Schuett. After being told to go back to her own room by her sleep-deprived mother, a restless Jennifer went back to her bedroom at around 2:30 a.m. after finally falling asleep while counting the coins from her piggy bank. She awoke to find that she was in the arms of a stranger who covered her mouth to stop her from screaming. Lying to her, the man told her that he was an undercover cop before driving her out to a field in Texas to, quote, wait for her mom to pick her up. Of course, this man was no police officer, and instead proceeded to assault her. The disturbing part was that he cut her throat from ear to ear with a knife and left her body nearby a road. Miraculously, Jennifer survived around 14 hours until she was found by a local group of kids playing tag, where she was airlifted for medical treatment. Doctors thought she would never be able to speak again, but in between surgeries, she worked with the police to identify the man. A sketch artist produced this drawing while also identifying the man as someone named Dennis. While Jennifer recovered, police found a pile of clothes that belonged not only to Jennifer, but what appeared to be the perpetrator as well. However, due to inefficient methods of DNA testing back then, the case remained unsolved. That is, until 2009. Detective Tim Cromie of the Dickinson Police worked in conjunction with the FBI to reanalyze the clothing found at the scene. After running it through DNA analysis once more, they found a match. A man by the name of Dennis Earl Bradford was arrested and charged with attempted capital murder. However, while awaiting trial, Bradford would be found hanging in his cell in what appeared to be a suicide. Today, Jennifer Schuett has not only recovered physically, but has regained her speech as well, much to the disbelief of medical professionals. She was quoted as saying, "I believe I got my voice back to tell my story." It's good to see we actually get to end on a happier note this time around. Thank you very much for watching. If you enjoyed the video, please consider leaving a like and maybe subscribing to see the next upload. Remember that you're loved, and I look forward to broadcasting to your screens again next time. Sleep tight.